We're here at Sweet Slades in the backyard where we're doing this shed roof. We're installing a 24 gauge steel. It's gonna be a standing seam roof. So if you're gonna do a forever roof, you need to have a forever underlayment. Just like on a tile roof, you don't wanna pay to have it detached and reset 20 years from now because the underlayment went bad. So let's take a look at our underlayment. So we have this high temp ice and water shield and it's gonna stick down to the roof, okay? Again, we want a forever underlayment for a forever roof. What we're doing here is we're prepping the drip edge down here. I know you're gonna get a lot of comments online. The ice and water shield is under the drip edge. It's supposed to be on top of it, but I'm gonna leave it this way. Should be fine for my shed in the back of this building. The main reason is because this ice and water shield has been up here for summer, and so it's glued down pretty good. This pitch transition right here where it goes from a 612 down to a 4 is what a lot of roofers get wrong. We see that wrong on a lot of roofs. So a lot of roofers take their next panel and they run it down and they butt it up against there. They'll send it right past that pitch transition at just a couple of inches. That is the wrong way to do it. What we're doing is marking out where this transition flashing is gonna go. A lot of people ask us about metal, the scratching. They'll be concerned about the scratching, that it's gonna rust out or what. Every metal roof has got cuts on it. Look right here on the corner. Scratches, that's just part of getting a metal roof. They sell touch-up paint, but it would never be worth it to come touch up all these little corners. It's the details that make all the difference. As I talk about steel, it's gonna come in different thicknesses. This one's a 24 gauge steel, much thicker than this, and it gets really hard to form. But a lot of roofers are out there installing 29 gauge. In my opinion, you don't want to do anything thinner than a 24 gauge. Getting it done right the first time is always the most cost-efficient way to do things. It's always the best deal. We've got the transition metal going up, and we're going to install the Z-bar. And that's going to be very important to making sure this thing works properly. He's going to mark out where all the Z-bar is going to go and where transition metal is going to end. That metal's going to do quite a bit of things. Let's say wind-driven snow and rain. It's going to prevent it from blowing up past this seam. What's going to happen is it's going to get sealed with caulking all the way around from underneath. When the snow blows up underneath here, it's not going to be able to blow up and get in and underneath this seam right here. That's also going to give us something to attach to without putting another hole in the usable section of the roof. Notice it's fine to have screws back here because they're going to have metal flashing underneath it, not touching these. Just measuring that last transition metal flashing. This is the part where most roofers or most people installing a metal roof on their own, if you're doing this on your own, this is where you usually get it wrong. Every part of this transition flashing is important to get correct. Here's our transition metal from this side of the roof. There's our Z metal up underneath there. Caulked on the quarters. We got our roofing caulking. Our silicone's gonna go down. We're gonna do a nice bead of caulking right along there. What we're doing here is he's marking for this last cleat that goes on top of the transition metal. What this cleat's gonna do is this next set of panels are gonna clip onto it and they're gonna hang on to that thing for, here's the cleat right here. We're about to move it into place and screw it in. Very important that we get the details right on this. See how we slid it in here? It's underneath this one up on top, but above the one underneath. We've got it fixed the cleat. That Z metal hangs onto it. And now we're gonna screw it down. See how it's cleated at the end? It's gonna cleat around that and hold in place. And then we're gonna slide it down into this little groove right over here. See, so everything with a roof, they don't do their Z-bar right, or they don't get it crimped. Okay, on this panel, see how we have this little cleat here? We've got metal folded around and it cleats into that. It's going to help quite a bit with wind, as well as wind-driven rain or snow. Again, back to the whole scratches on a metal roof. It's cut in a bunch of different places. There's going to be some scratches. This is my own roof. I'm not even going to bother touching that up. That's not going to rust. So see how we're just going to snap it in, slide it back up into place, screw the top, crimp the bottom, put in our clip. Crimping will hold that roof on. This crimp around the edge is a detail that a lot of roofers miss. They just cut it and leave it hanging right off the edge here. Very important to have that on there. So we're cutting the last panel, slope of the roof. What we're doing here is creating that last rib to fit in. Using kind of a custom size. Now this last piece is going right up in there. finish off that lower portion. Last piece coming in, gonna maneuver it up underneath there. Things coming down harder on this metal roof, and it's getting late. Ridge cap is gonna go on very similar. We're gonna put down another Z metal, and then the ridge cap on top of that. Luckily it's raining as we've done this, and so you can see our transition metal working as we speak. That is the right way to do it.